Homesteaders! Why they went west. Those homesteaders who went west were mainly from eastern states such as Illinois or Wisconsin. Some of the homesteaders were freed slaves who wanted to make a life for themselves. Others were from abroad, in particular Europe. In 1880, 5.25 million immigrants arrived in the US.
Yay, we're going west!
People went west because they were already partially west but found it overpopulated. They were trying to escape poverty, for instance the Irish. They were escaping religious persecution, for example the Jews. They wanted a better life, or they had been convinced of how brilliant it would be because of manifest destiny. People were encouraged to go west by officials because once a territory had a population of 60,000, it could become a state. Rail companies encouraged people because they needed to sell the land they'd been given by the government. The rail companies sold the land very cheap, which attracted the settlers. The Homestead Act of 1862 enabled people to get 160 acres land free, provided they lived on it for 5 years. However, the Homestead Act did not allow enough land for people to make a living. Some people took advantage of the Act to get cheap land and then resell it. Therefore, the Homestead Act was followed by the Timber Culture Act of 1873 and the Desert Land Act of 1877. These allowed people to buy an additional 160 acres, provided 10 acres were planted with trees, or to buy 640 acres in areas with low rainfall.
Problems!
Prairie fires meant that it was hard to plant crops. Sod houses burnt really quickly and they weren't efficient. Smoke meant the air wasn't clean. Grasshopper plagues meant that the crops got eaten. Buffalo stampedes ruined all the crops. Wells dried up, meaning that there wasn't enough water to drink and feed the animals. The lack of wood meant that they couldn't make fire and they couldn't build the houses. Harsh winters were very dangerous because of the massive amounts of snow falling and there wasn't a good source of heating. Quick burning fuel, which was buffalo down, meant that the fires they lit up didn't last very long.
Solutions!
The train brought in wood from other states which was used for houses after the railway was built between 1863 and 1869. Barbed wire was the solution to the buffalo stampedes so crops could grow better. This was in 1874. The solution to water problems was the wind pump as it brought in water also in 1874. Because houses were made of soil, sod and mud, they started to be made of wood, which was brought in by trains.
Sodbusters!
The sodbuster, introduced by John Deere, made it easier to turn the hard prairie soil.
Women's roles. Hi, I'm Mary. There wasn't a lot of wood, so I had to look for buffalo dung, but it still burnt really quick. We didn't have many vegetables, so we had to look for shrubs and edible roots. But soon after, we discovered turkey red wheat. Yay! That was good for planting on the plain. We had to make our own clothes and mend them because it was hard to make them from scratch. Since there was no schools, we had to teach our own children how to read and write. I'm off to go find buffalo dung.
That's really good.
The End. By Charles.
Naira, Ellie, Kira, Lewis, Rachel, Freya, Megan.